Hey guys, I'm back with a new video, and this week I've decided to do a video on kind of like Red Maryada, not completely going intense saying what you cannot do, but like more of advice. It's more like a question and answer, but I've like asked you guys to send me questions about the struggles that you're having with either taking AMRIT or following like Maryada, like keeping your gears or eating your eating habits or anything along those lines. And I think I uploaded a story today and I got quite a few questions, so I was thinking of going through those questions and trying to answer them in the best way I can. So I'm just going to get those questions up and go through them one by one. So one of the questions is that this person wants to take AMRIT, but she doesn't do her nitnem during AMRIT Lila all the time. But I would say as long as you're like keeping all the other red, like you're not eating like halal meat or yeah, you've got your morals in line. I think with see with me, when I first took AMRIT, I wasn't doing my AMRIT Lila because my AMRIT was very unpredicted. But once I had taken AMRIT, I kind of got into the flow that I have to do my nitnem regardless what happens. If I don't do my nitnem, I feel empty. It feels like my day's been useless. I haven't done anything in my day. You need to get to that point where you have the thirst of doing your nitnem and or your main seven baniya, right? So obviously doing the other two baniya is easy compared to doing the nitnem ones, which are early in the morning. But I would say once you have the thirst of doing nitnem, to get to the point where you feel like that, and then you'll know you're ready. Once you're like inside say you're ready, you're ready. You just need to make sure you're not going to slip up, if that makes sense. It's better that you don't slip up and you take AMRIT than you slip up and you take AMRIT. I understand there's other situations sometimes when people slip up. That's understandable. If you subconsciously are slipping up and you know you will, let's try and avoid that, if I'm making sense. So keep at it with your nitnem. Just keep at it. Just make it a persistent thing. The more you do it, the more it'll feel like I have to do it. And even if your nitnem isn't always AMRIT Lila, just make sure you do it. Because if you start missing it, that's when you're going to start slipping up, and then nitnem will mean nothing to you, and then you'll want to do it on time, if that makes sense. But yeah, just keep at it, and then you'll know when you're ready. Don't push yourself to take AMRIT, and yeah, you'll know basically. Right, second question I have is a guy who hasn't got the courage to keep his dari, so his beard. He's into Sikhi, but he doesn't know how to take a next step forward, and he doesn't know how to keep his gears basically. I think that is more going out and doing it, to be honest. You'll start feeling guilty if you're into your religion or into Sikhi a lot. You'll start feeling guilty if you do things that you're not supposed to. So for example, with me, when I didn't take AMRIT, and I wasn't really into Sikhi, but I was into Sikhi, I was floating in between. It was like I wasn't cutting my, but like I was doing my eyebrows basically. So it got to the point where Sikhi made me click, and it just felt wrong when I was doing it. So if I would got it done, I would feel really guilty. Like it would put me down for a whole day or even 2 days, that why did I do this? And every time I did it, I felt guilty. And you need to feel that once you feel that, you'll be like, no, I cannot do my eyebrows again, I cannot shave my beard again, I cannot cut my hair again. It'll get to that point. You need to build the courage up to either try it out, see how it feels, and try and push yourself through that obstacle, or feel the guilt. Because once you feel the guilt, you're like, there is no way on earth I am ever doing this again. You'll get to that point. Like right now with me, someone told me to cut my ears, I'll be like, girl, you can step out of this room, you can step out of my house, go into a different city, because I am not going to do that. That's one thing. It will physically make me feel really guilty and sick. I would not be able to forgive myself if I did that. And I think that's the stage you need to get to. You need to start feeling guilty, or start understanding the other concept of you're just doing it to make yourself look good. But in life, that's not the case. Like, you don't have to cut your hair to make yourself look good. You can look really good even if you've got a dari case, you got whatever facial hair you have, you can still look good. You need to be confident in yourself. It's all about you finding the inner self to be able to, because you're pulling the inside out, if that makes sense. And maybe ask yourself the question, like, why am I cutting my hair if I really love this religion? If you follow a religion, you believe what it says, and when you believe something, you implement it in your life. Bani, it says not to cut your hair, and that's your way of saying, like, attached to God. It's one of your ways of remembering that God made you and created you the way you are, and you're an individual. You don't have to look like someone else. So you don't have to shave your beard to look like Jazzy B, or you don't have to cut your hair to look like Jazzy B, because regardless what you look like, you're an individual. So you need to embrace yourself. So the next one, the girl's a Hindu apparently, but she wants to take AMRIT and she doesn't know how to convince her parents. Her nana and nanny have been into like Sikh for the past 20 years, and she's got AMRIT Sikh friends, and she doesn't know how to convince her parents to take AMRIT. I would say not necessarily you need to take AMRIT at this stage. I would say if you want to, you can, but I would say first explore the path, like as in learn more about Sikhi. The more you learn, the more it will be a part of you, if that makes sense. Because obviously you're saying that you want to take AMRIT, but you're a Hindu, and then once you've accepted the path that you want to be on, so if you've accepted to be a Hindu, if you've accepted to be a Sikh, you will identify yourself as that person and not identify yourself as a Hindu, if that makes sense. So obviously I don't know your age. I wouldn't recommend doing it from a young age unless you know that your parents will accept your decision. But I guess you could always keep learning about Sikhi, because as a Sikh you are learning, constantly learning. Sikhi is about learning, and it doesn't necessarily mean that you're perfect, but you could always like keep learning about Sikhi, keep expanding your knowledge, keep your head. So don't cut your hair, don't follow the Hindu religion if you want to be a Sikh, if that makes sense. If you want to be a Hindu, then do your thing, but if you want to be a Sikh, then don't follow other things. Accept them and acknowledge them doesn't mean you need to follow them. Obviously, if you're a young age, then it might be a bit more difficult to convince your parents, but I guess when you become more of a mature adult, like around 16, 17, 18, you're able to take better decisions. So you'll be able to come out and tell your parents straight up, like, this is the situation. Please don't force me into believing what you want me to believe in. I want to believe in what I want to believe in. As long as you're a decent person, I don't think there will be an issue. Just keep learning. I would say keep learning until you know it's the perfect time and you're 100% ready to take AMRIT. Start doing your baniya, start doing your bard. that's always a good place to start as well. Right, another question about taking AMRIT as well. It's always the parents, isn't it? How can I persuade my parents to let me take AMRIT? My mum and dad think I should take AMRIT when I'm 50 years old. That's not true. Your life is pretty much over, and there's no point you taking well, there is a point you taking AMRIT, but then there's no point you taking AMRIT as well. I'll explain why. But I'm already living the Amritdari life, and I would like to take AMRIT soon. Okay, so he wants to take AMRIT, but his parents won't let him, but he's keeping his red, so keeping your kids, not drinking alcohol, not doing drugs, not eating meat. Okay, you're not doing all that. You're starting to do your bania, or you're doing your bania, and you know you're ready, then you know what, even if you take AMRIT, your parents will accept you. Even if you go out and take AMRIT today, if they already know you're living that life, there is no way they're going to stop you. They're not going to accept you. There is no way they're going to be like, I'm disowning you now. It's just because obviously your case, your whole family is into Sikhi in some way. You're more into Sikhi and want to take AMRIT and actually want to follow the path and not do what Sikhs do these days, which is very hard to explain to other people when they're like, oh, but this person's a Sikh and she cuts her hair and all this. It's just, yeah. So anyways, in this situation it's different because your parents are Sikh and they've risen you up as a Sikh. So you now wanting to come down a solid Sikhi path and wanting to take AMRIT, if you're ready and you're not doing all these things that you're not supposed to be doing, and you got the basics solidly nailed, you know what, even after taking AMRIT you're still learning. So I'm going to say that straight up. It doesn't mean that you take AMRIT and you don't do anything. You're still learning after you take AMRIT, so you know your basics, and then you're continuously learning and developing as a human being and being a better person in general. So you wanting to take AMRIT, you go out and take AMRIT today, your parents will still accept you. I can tell you that for sure, as long as you're solidly into Sakina, if that makes sense. They won't stop you and they won't pull you off your path that easily. And you take an AMRIT at 50, it's the reason I said it's pointless is because your life's gone. And as a Sikh, right, especially if you're from a different country, or if you're in a different country like I'm in the UK, I'm stepping out my doors and representing Sikhi every single day with my dastar on. Regardless what people say about my clothes, I'm still stepping out representing Sikhi with modest clothes on and my dastar, right? Me doing that at 50, no one's going to ask me. I'm going to be in a caring home, right? And I'm going to be with all this little group of auntia, and rather than going out in the world, if that makes sense. You're meant to stand together now, and you're supposed to develop now as a Sikh. There's no point you drinking alcohol, doing this, doing that, until you're 60 and like, okay, I'm going to take AMRIT now. That's not how it works, because most of your life you just spend doing unnecessary things, worldly things. So yeah, best that you take AMRIT when you're ready. And if you're ready now, take it. I'm not going to say no. And your parents aren't going to say no. Well, they might be mad at you for like a day, but then they'll be like, okay. Because I know a couple of people that have taken AMRIT without telling their parents. Obviously I haven't encouraged them. I found out after, but it hasn't turned out bad. So, you know, they've actually put their parents on a path, right path, rather than the other way round, if that makes sense. So yeah, tips with keeping your AMRIT, like obviously you'll make mistakes, you'll forget, you'll this, that, another. It happens, but just try and make it up. If you're if you forgot your nickname, just try not to forget the next time and really work on it, and not just say I'll do it, but just actually work on it. If you're taking if you're struggling to wake up in the morning, set yourself goals. That's a good way of getting up in the morning. Set yourself a goal, like I need to do this at this time. Once you get into the routine, and it'll become natural and a normal thing for you. One thing I would hugely say is not to miss your nickname at all. Regardless of time, just do not miss it. Once you start missing it, that's when the guilt will slowly start going, and nickname will be nothing to you, basically. But with nickname is everything. So to avoid that, what I do personally, it works for me, I don't eat until I've done my nickname. Because once I've eaten, I know I'm going to forget to do my nickname. I'm going to be full, I'm going to be chilling, I'm going to be in a rush to do other things. I'll be like, nah, don't worry, nickname can go. Whereas if you say to yourself, no, I need to do my nickname now and then I can eat, it'll be fine for you. You won't struggle. And if you're the type that you can't focus, or you're too hungry, then have a little bit to eat. So I don't know, a biscuit or something, enough for your hunger to die out so you can focus. That's what I would do. That's my number one tip. Number one tip for not cutting your hair: give it a go. Just don't cut it. And if you cut it again, you'll probably most likely feel guilty if you haven't cut it in some time. Number 3, with eating meat. If someone's struggling to stop eating meat, there's 3 ways. Reduce it slowly. Cut off one meat at a time. So cut off chicken, red meat, eggs, fish, slowly, one at a time. If you're really passionate like I was, just cut it off at one go, and when you go back to it, you'll feel guilty for sure. It happened to me. I cut it off, went back to it, felt guilty, I went back to being a vegetarian. This is before I even took AMRIT, by the way. So I was like, 10 at the time? And my whole family was eating meat. I was the only one that stopped. So, you know, when people are saying that I can't take AMRIT because my parents wouldn't let me, I stopped eating meat and my whole family was eating meat. So imagine what I was eating if there was meat being made every day. But today, now, touch wood, that everyone, my family, is currently vegetarian. So, you know, one step goes a long way. You'll be surprised. Another key would be your sangat. If you're in a country where there's not enough Sikh people, I would say make sure your sangat is morally in line. So people that have their morals straight, they're not constantly swearing at nothing. They know what is right and what is wrong, like the clear black and white, right and wrong, like no stealing, no this, no that. They know their morals. They know not to be mean to people and nice people. They're the type of people that keep you in your Sikhi as well. Not the type of people that convince you to go clubbing when they know you don't do that stuff. And they're not the type of people that are spiking your drinks or asking you constantly why you don't eat meat. Maybe, okay, I know people ask once in a while, it's fine, just calm. But when they constantly do it just to irritate you and make sure you eventually give in, that's the wrong type of sangat. So for those who don't live in populated Sikh areas or Sikh areas, I would say just know your friends. So yeah, I think I'm done with my tips, and I think I'm done answering the questions I got. I'm sorry if I missed any out. I'll just, reply back to your DMs on my Insta. It is thatxcool, I believe. Yeah, it is thatxcool. Yeah, so, hit that thumbs up button if you haven't, and hit that subscribe button. Guys, come on, what are you doing? Come on, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. and hit that little bell button, because you obviously want to know when I post. So, duh, why would you not? But yeah, so leave a comment down below if you found this useful in any sort of way, and you know, and stay fearless and keep going. Bye!